Hi everyone, it is Sunday the 23rd of August 2020. I'm having a look at the global indices and starting off with the US indices, specifically the Dow. So we've had a nice pullback on the daily, nice bullish candle, follow through, breakthrough. There is clearly some resistance here around that 28,000 mark. My expectation though, seeing as the weekly, is pretty much free between now and 29,000, and the monthly as well is free to head up towards that. Aside from some potential bumping its head against this, I do expect it to attempt to continue to the upside. Having a look at the S&P 500, same thing again, it is now approaching and touching all-time highs. And again, still looking nice and bullish. The weekly in isolation, although a little bit further away from the moving averages. Overall, and if I compare the monthly, if I look at the price action behavior here, it's very different compared to previously. So it looks as though right now, there are no signs of panic, and it is looking to push on and continue this week. The NASDAQ on the daily looking beautiful again in isolation. Very nice, very sustainable, not that overextended. Any pullbacks on the lower time frames would provide some entries on the 4-hour, 2-hour, 1 hour. Looking good. The weekly starting to head a little bit into overextended territory. The monthly, of course, just solid buying. This is very almost institutional. And it's buying, just kind of marching soldiers, solid, very sustainable. I say sustainable, I mean continuous kind of habitual, kind of just repeatable kind of buying there, whatever the reasoning behind that is. Of course, in any given week, there can be a nice little pullback, but so far, the price action, especially from last week, has carried over and looks very favorable. Then heading on to the US Russell 2000. It's pulled back into the moving averages. A nice little bullish candle here could be a potential buying opportunity. I do note on the weekly that this has created a swing high at a level of historical resistance. And so that'll be interesting to me to see if we do break the low of that. Could potentially just be a weekly retracement continuing down to support. And so in that case, if I go back to the daily, I would see price heading down towards 1500, possibly as low as 1455. Looking at the UK FTSE. So this one has been largely range bound on that weekly and on the daily as well. It's still stuck within that range, and breaks below that, of course, would seem to be more bearish. The monthly here has produced that swing high, and currently the monthly candle looks slightly bearish with that strong wick on top. So as soon as we leave the US markets, it does appear to get a little bit weaker. The same thing here, really just highlighting with EU stocks, though. They have still produced higher lows in the weekly, and there's not enough evidence here to show them rejecting that even on the monthly. With last month's bearish candle, the current candle is still green and showing some potential of trying to get up higher. So there are still buyers in the market. And potentially this week looking to, same thing again here on that monthly there, that bit of that rejection indecision candle, and yet this month has continued to push a little bit higher. So overall, just saying that there are buyers in the market that may want to continue to push higher and just keep pushing this week. And so that's what I'll be looking at. But I'll be probably, in terms of trading opportunities, I'll be keeping an eye mostly on the US markets. Here at the Hang Seng on that weekly, we've got that swing low. And so looking for that to continue up. So again, intraday opportunities, I believe if the market continues to act in the same way that it has over the last several weeks, there'll be definitely buying opportunities for me on those lower time frames. And again, that's the same with the Nikkei, looking at ASICs finishing up on the Australian one as well. I just noticed with both the Nikkei and the Australian one, they are bumping their heads up against resistance. So here on the daily, for example, I've just been looking to see if there is potentially a bullish breakout building up here. And what I'll be looking for this week is to see if price works its way back up towards that 6,200 level, and then I might be able to move my potential stop loss on a break above the high, my stop loss below, a little bit tighter on that, and just improve that reward to risk ratio on that potential trade setup. If it does, then price subsequently breaks out on that. So currently price action is looking steady and stable and bullish, stronger in the US than outside the US, and of course any kind of abject failures out of the blue on any given day would be unexpected, and therefore then I could expect to see price head a little bit lower. What I'm going to be looking for over the next week is to see if the non-US markets manage to stabilize and recover, or if they continue to weaken. And if that is the case, that could imply that the US is starting to diverge away from the other markets, and it might not just be a case of leading versus lagging. and that would just be an indication of potential risk down the line. But so far, yes, in isolation, the US markets continue to look stable and bullish, and there isn't anything necessarily on the horizon that looks as though that's going to change anytime soon. So, but as always, I'll be trading with stop losses. So if there are any sudden drops in price action, if I am going long and there are sudden drops in that, then I'll be prepared for the market to become to have an increase in volatility, and be prepared if there is down during the week then a bigger drop, then I could be looking for opportunities to the downside. And obviously, but at this point in time, so far, it's looking nice and stable.